Hello, everybody. Good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. I'm joined by Fabrizio Romano. How are you doing, Fabrizio?
Hello, my friend. I'm good. Thank you. Have a nice week to all my United fans.
Good. Back at it this week. International football is nearly over, but we were just talking there. I wanted to ask you about the managerial situation anyway. I was going to ask you who you think is leading the race. Literally in the last 5 minutes, I think Santi Uno has come out and said that Manchester United board have had a meeting with Pochettino. Are you aware of this, Fabrizio? And what can you tell us the latest is?
Yes, I want to clarify that from what I'm told, there was no direct meeting, in person, face by face, but was a direct contact. And Pochettino is in contact with Man United board, not Pochettino himself sometimes, but his lawyers and people next to him since long time. So it's not surprising me. It's absolutely normal that Man United are speaking with people close to Pochettino. He's a candidate, as we know, since November. So they have his name in the list together with Ten Hag as front runner since long time. So I think everything is going in the normal way, in the normal process when you're going to appoint a new manager. So this is what they're doing, having contacts with these managers. I expect them to have a direct meeting with Pochettino also, in case they will decide to hire him as new manager in the coming days. So this is something that could be an option. The only other option they have is to appoint another manager, and so they don't need another meeting with Pochettino. So it's absolutely normal kind of process. They're in contact with people next to him, and in particular with his lawyers since a long time. And so I think we are in the final part of these conversations with Pochettino, with Ten Hag, and soon they will make their final decision.
How do you feel because we were talking about this last week, the PSG situation with Pochettino? Would they let Pochettino speak to Manchester United? Are they looking to get rid of him? Would there be compensation United would have to pay? Or do you think it would all just be, you can have him and we don't pay any compensation?
No, I see Pochettino being, of course, respectful with Paris Saint-Germain. So this is why, there are no direct meetings, because sometimes it depends also about the relationships between clubs, about the plans of the clubs. We know, for example, the relationship between Ajax and Man United is very good, in particular thanks to Edwin van der Sar. With Paris Saint-Germain, of course, is different, the kind of situation they are living now. And so this is why Man United and Pochettino have to be careful on this situation. I don't see at the moment any issue with compensations or this kind of stories. We know that Pochettino will have good chances to leave Paris Saint-Germain at the end of the season. So the expectation is not to have a long negotiation with Paris Saint-Germain. And the problem is not a negotiation with Paris Saint-Germain. The only point is what Man United will decide to do. But I don't see any issue in going for Mauricio Pochettino. And same with Ten Hag, but it depends on the timing. Because, of course, these managers are waiting for Man United decisions since long time. We're approaching the end of March now, and there is still no final decision. Ten Hag has been approached also by the clubs, so it's absolutely normal in this moment of the year that clubs are exploring situations, are exploring agents to ask about managers too. So it's absolutely normal what is happening, but Man United have to be careful because, of course, other clubs are exploring the market of the managers, and so it could be a danger in case they want to decide in the coming few days or weeks.
Just on Erik Ten Hag there, you mentioned other clubs. I was told on Friday that those clubs were a German club, which is quite advanced, but I wasn't told which German club, and some people think it's Dortmund and PSG. But then we also heard it might be an English club. Have you got any indication on what clubs are looking at Erik Ten Hag and how serious they are? Or do you think it might just be a game to get United to make a move?
I don't see a game. I don't see it as a game. I think it's absolutely true that some clubs are exploring the possibility to appoint Erik Ten Hag. It's important to clarify that nothing has been agreed with or close to be agreed with other clubs. So it's not in advanced discussions with other clubs. It's just exploring the situation. It's what is absolutely normal to do in March. At the moment, about the clubs, nothing has been confirmed on people next to Erik Ten Hag. And for example, you mentioned PSG, and this kind of clubs are not confirming this kind of rumors in March. It's absolutely normal that they are protecting the team, protecting the club. So I think we are in the moment of the market, in the typical moment of the managers market, March, April, when you explore the situation, but nothing has been decided yet, and it will take time also for Paris Saint-Germain to decide their new manager. German clubs like to move in advance, but Man United, now they are in a very good position because now they can decide. They're in a very good position because they're looking for a manager since a long time. They are in the process, but now it's time to complete this process because Erik Ten Hag, for example, he wants to have an answer as soon as possible. Of course, he's happy with the interest of Man United, but he wants an answer as soon as possible, and he wants to understand about all the details of the project. What I'm told is that during the interview of course, is on Man United's side, so they want to know about Erik Ten Hag ideas, system, plans, but also on Ten Hag's side, he wanted to understand about the budget, about the project, about what kind of idea they want to develop in the coming years. So Ten Hag is attracted, of course, by Man United. It's absolutely normal, but he wants to understand how much they want him, because it seems it's taking time and there is still no final answer. So timing will be an important factor in this process.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, actually. A lot of United fans, as you can understand, are very impatient to get this done. We're going to talk about some transfers in a moment. And I think United fans feel that if you get the manager in now, you can then start telling players who your manager's going to be and you can start doing deals.
This is correct. I think the fans are right when they think this, because it's normal. I can tell you of many players and agents that are still asking around who will be the manager of Man United. They don't know. And this is going to be very important. This is a key point for the next season and for the project, the whole project, I would say. This is why timing is going to be very important, because the market will be affected by this decision and the timing of this decision. So it's important for Man United to decide as soon as possible, even if it's not official, because you know that maybe we're talking about managers like Pochettino and Ten Hag that are already working with other important clubs. And so it's not easy maybe to make an official statement in March or in April to say he will be my manager next season. So maybe it will take some time to see the official statement, but to make a final decision, because it means that you can go to negotiate with players and tell them, this is our project, this is our manager, this is our idea. So this is why it's going to be important to decide as soon as possible.
What's your feeling on it, Fabrizio? Some of us were thinking that maybe by the time this international break's over, United will have made that decision. That we've also heard that maybe it could be weeks away, which is not good for transfers. Do you think a deal is close? A decision is close? And who do you think is the favourite at the moment? Obviously, I'm not asking you who the manager is going to be, but with the bookmakers in England, Erik Ten Hag is the firm favourite. My personal feeling is I'm still thinking that the club will go for Pochettino, but that's just because I don't want Pochettino. I want Ten Hag, so I'm playing devil's advocate a bit. But, how are you feeling about this, and how quick do you think a decision will be?
First of all, about the timing, honestly, what is coming from the club is that they still need some time. So it's not like a matter of hours, of days, that maybe it will be weeks. So this is what is coming from the club. But we need to understand if that means that is timing to announce the new manager or timing to reach an agreement with the new manager. So this is an important detail of this story. But from the club, the answer is it will take some weeks to decide and to have everything set to be announced. So it will take some time. I don't expect it to happen immediately in the next few days, but never say never with Man United. You know better than me. And talking about the favorite, I think on the communication side has been very important to say Man United important sources. Of course, I respect important sources in England. There's many that we saw in the last few days confirming about Erik Ten Hag. Because I think this is a message about the interview with Erik Ten Hag, because I think it's a message that Man United are sending, and it's absolutely normal that they're having meetings and this kind of stuff around in this period. But from what I told, this meeting with Erik Ten Hag was really positive, was a very good one. So they were happy with his level of English, was a key point, trust me, because last summer it was a big issue for Tottenham, and that's why Erik Ten Hag started to study English. Now this process is going very well, and so they're happy with his communication, with his level of English, with his approach. They have no doubts on the quality of the manager. What he's doing with Ajax is fantastic, but now it's time to decide into the board who is the right man. If the experience of Pochettino, or going for a manager with very good ideas but with less experience like Erik Ten Hag. The experience is the real point that is helping Pochettino in this race.
Yeah, and it will be very interesting because, and I'm glad you said that about the meeting, because I was speaking last Tuesday on the show and I said I'd heard the same, well, probably not the same as you, but I'd heard that the interview had gone very well with Ten Hag. Yes. And that clearly is a message that's gone out from the club, because we've heard that from so many people. One thing as well is, I don't know whether you're aware of this, is that the fan base is massively, like any poll you run, it's well over 80% for Erik Ten Hag, which hopefully the club will. I mean, you shouldn't always listen to fans. I completely agree with that. But I don't know what your thought is on that. Could you imagine, I don't know, an AC Milan or a Juventus or a Real Madrid, if 80% of their fans wanted a certain manager? It's a brave decision to go against your fans.
Yes, but I want to give you an example. You mentioned one club, AC Milan. When they appointed Stefano Pioli, their current manager, they're now first in the table in Serie A. When they appointed Stefano Pioli, the fans were outside the offices, the official offices of the club and the headquarters of the club, going against his decision, saying Pioli out was trending topic for 1 week in Italy because AC Milan fans didn't want him. And now they're doing an incredible job. They're leading the table in Serie A, and they're doing very good with a normal team, a good team, but it's not a special team. And they are in the race to win the Serie A. So sometimes it's not always the best idea to follow what the fans think. But in this case, I think the Man United fans are having a very good point in supporting Erik ten Hag, because this manager, I just give you my personal opinion, this manager is very good, but he's good on the pitch, he's good off the pitch in the relationships with the board. He's used to work really closely with the board. What he did with Mark Overmars has been fantastic in picking the right players. I think there is a key sentence from Ralf Rangnick. I always say we can't get wrong too many transfers in the coming season, too many signings. What they did in the last few years with signings was many times not at Man United level. Erik ten Hag is helping in this kind of process. He knows what kind of players he needs. He's never signing a player that then he's not using, as for example it happened with Donny van de Beek. I think Donny van de Beek was a fantastic signing, but was not the right signing for Ole. Yeah. And this is something that you can't continue to do. And having Erik ten Hag helps to avoid this kind of situation, because he only trusts some players that then he's using and he's developing. So this is why I think Man United fans are correct, and you are correct to support Erik ten Hag in this race.
We will see. Just quickly before we move on to transfers, Ralf Rangnick, do you feel he's involved in this, and do you think he will be involved next season, or do you think he might be leaving in the summer? Because there's been a bit of rumour that he's not been listened to and he could be off in the summer. Do you think he is part of the long-term project at United?
At the moment, yes. At the moment, what I'm told is yes. He is still in discussions with the board every time they have to decide something on contracts or on this manager situation. So yes, at the moment he's involved in the decisions. Then let's see who they will pick, because it's not Ralf Rangnick, the man who picks the new manager. So if they will trust his ideas in this manager project, of course it's going to be a really important decision also for Ralf Rangnick, because he wants to have a power in this decision. Is absolutely normal, no? To decide together, but to be a consultant of the board, it means to have a power in the decision. So this is why he will be part of this process. But let's see who will be the man for Man United.
Okay, let's move on to some transfers then. We spoke a couple of months ago about a striker for Manchester United, and I think you said keep an eye on for a younger type of striker for Manchester United. Athletic today, decent outlet in the UK, are saying that Harry Kane is a target for United regardless of who the manager is. Do you think Harry Kane is more likely to United this summer than a Darwin Núñez or a younger type striker? Has things changed, do you think?
I think it's not going to be easy to sign Harry Kane, honestly. First point, what I feel talking with people in football is if Antonio Conte will stay at Tottenham, it's because he knows that Harry Kane stays at Tottenham. So he wants to make sure that Harry Kane will be key part of Tottenham project. I don't see Antonio Conte accepting to stay at Tottenham without Harry Kane, because it would mean the winning mentality he's asking for in every single press conference, and then you sell Harry Kane, is not in Antonio Conte's plans. So Conte and Kane future is linked, so it's going to be an important point for Harry Kane. Of course, Man United have an interest in Harry Kane since a long time. It's absolutely normal. They want this player since many years, but it's not going to be easy with Tottenham, and it's not going to be easy with Conte too. So I think it's normal to have an interest, normal to have contacts, but I'm not sure that it's going to be so easy to make Harry Kane the main target. It depends on the manager too, because maybe if Pochettino will be the new manager, for example, we know, of course, the relationship with Harry Kane is excellent, and so it could be a point, but it's not going to be easy. So I'm sure that they have many options. I'm told that they have many younger options, as the one you mentioned in the last few weeks. So today we have rumors on Darwin Núñez, but he's a player that is in the list of many clubs. West Ham wanted him in January. Arsenal had contacts too. So he's in the list of many important clubs around Europe. But Man United have many options. It's not just Núñez or Harry Kane. They have many options and different kind of players. And for example, Kane could be perfect for kind of football that Pochettino has in mind, of course. But maybe for Ten Hag, they will look for something different. So the manager will make the difference on that decision.
Hopefully it's something different then. Tchouaméni is a player, played fantastically well for France the other day. I think Tchouaméni is a bit like Erik ten Hag. People would like to have Ten Hag and Tchouaméni over Pochettino and Declan Rice. But Tchouaméni looks like Real Madrid. Do you think there's truth in that, or do you think this is still an open race for him?
No. I'm told that it's absolutely open. There is nothing agreed with Real Madrid. It's true that Real Madrid are following him, but since many months, since September, they are sending their people around Europe to follow this boy. He's doing fantastic with Monaco. He's doing fantastic with France. So it's true. It's absolutely true that Tchouaméni is an important player and many important clubs are following him. But nothing has been agreed. So the race for Tchouaméni is absolutely open. I'm told that he's attracted by Premier League football. So one day it could be an option for him or maybe in the summer, because he loves kind of idea of playing in Premier League. So Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, and Premier League clubs are still in touch with his agents. Nothing has been agreed. And so keep an eye on Tchouaméni, because last summer the answer coming from Man United was no, he's not a target. He's not a player we're following. But let's see this summer with another manager if he could be an option. Personal opinion would be the perfect player for Man United. Perfect player. They need a defensive midfielder, and Tchouaméni is more than a defensive midfielder. He's young, but he's very good also with his European experience, because with Monaco he's doing pretty good, with France he's doing pretty good, and his skills are absolutely perfect for Man United.
Yeah, I agree. I've got a few to whiz through. So Dybala looks like he's available in the summer. He's been linked to United in the past. There are a few United fans who would take Dybala. There's a few people like myself who love Dybala, but I'm not convinced he's what United need right now. He'll be expensive wages-wise, won't he? What do you think United and Dybala fit now? Maybe a couple of years ago, do they fit now?
No, he was really close a couple of years ago. It was more than close. It was almost done deal, but then Dybala said no because he didn't want to leave Juventus. So it was not a disrespect United, but he wanted to stay at Juventus. Now he's available on free. His agent is going to meet with many clubs in Spain, in Italy like Inter, in England, so with many options. But at the moment, I'm told that there is nothing between Man United and Paulo Dybala. And your point on wages is really important. The salaries he was asking to Juventus was 8 million euros guaranteed per season, net, plus 2 million euros add-ons. So it was a package around 10 million euros net salary per season. It's a huge one for a player that had many problems in the last few years, because he's a fantastic player when he's fit, but in the last 2-3 years he had many problems, many injuries, and that's why also Juventus were not convinced to offer him that money.
Yeah, definitely. Kamara, I wanted to ask you about Kamara at Marseille. We spoke about him in January. He could have left Marseille and they could have got a bit of money. He's run his contract down. There was something last week about United reigniting interest in him. Again, he's another free agent. Do you think United will go back there, or do you think their eyes are on somebody else now?
He was offered in the final week of January, but Man United were not open to sign him, was not a priority. So I think he's still not a priority. So let's see, maybe the new manager will say, okay, let's sign him because he's available on the free. And so it could be a big opportunity. Well, at the moment, I'm told that there are no contacts with Man United. Atletico Madrid are exploring this possibility. Other clubs are keeping tabs on him because Kamara is a very good player. But at the moment, I don't see him as the priority for Man United. So if they wanted him, they had the chance to sign him in January, and they said no. And same happened with Zakaria. So I think they're targeting something bigger than this.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. And just on this came out today as well. I can't remember where it came from. It was about contract renewals. You've been on about Bruno's contract for a long time. That looks like it's getting very close now. And I think on the Bruno thing as well, that renewal is about bringing his wages in line with everybody else as well. He was already on a long contract. But Rashford and Luke Shaw have been mentioned today. Both similar lengths left on their contract. Have you heard that United are looking at those deals at the moment, or is that just paper talk?
So for Luke Shaw, yes. For Luke Shaw, they're working on it. Man United want to extend Luke Shaw contract, want to rediscuss Luke Shaw contract since 1 year. Then he changed his agent. So this is why the plan and the timing changed, but the intention is still the same. They want to discuss with Luke Shaw and to open talks over a new contract. So it's a possibility. For Rashford, at the moment, no. Still nothing going on, even because Rashford, as we already said a few weeks ago, he wants to consider his future, to understand who will be the new manager. So I think the process with Rashford will take some weeks to understand what he wants to do. But at some point, I'm sure that Man United also feel protected by the clauses they have into these contracts, because for both Luke Shaw and Rashford, they have clauses to extend this contract till 2024. So it means they are not in a rush. Of course, they want to discuss with these players, and in particular with Luke Shaw, but they're not in a rush because they have this option protecting the club. And for Bruno, is almost done. It will be announced in the coming days. It will be till 2027. As you mentioned, he was asking, and I think he was absolutely correct, to have a different salary after the seasons he had with Man United. This one was not the best best one, but Bruno is always providing, and the club, they're super happy with him. They see him as a key player for the future too, and so that's why it will be signed in the coming weeks. There was a breakthrough in the talks 2 weeks ago, and so everything is in the final stages and will be signed soon.
And the final thing I was going to ask you, Fabrizio, before you go, is we heard from Paul Pogba on the international break. I knew we would. It's his last international break before the summer. It's an opportunity to get away from United, and speak a bit freely, which is what a lot of players do on international football. Do you realistically think that he would sign? The question I was going to ask is not that he would sign a new deal, because I think that's always been on the table. But do you think United would have the best offer on the table, considering he's a free agent in the summer? Because that's the thing, isn't it? People say, well, will PSG or Real Madrid or whoever offer him the wages? But they're getting him for free. So I've always felt that the offers on the table will be surely better than what United can offer anyway.
Yes, this is a good point. The timing of when he will receive the proposals is also important, because as I'm always been told, it's not going to be now, it's not going to be April, it's going to be end of the season. He's going to wait for May to make a decision, and so for sure the proposal from Man United is economically a very good proposal, but I think it's not just about money. What I'm told is not just about money. It's about titles, as he mentioned in the interview. It's about the project. It's about the family, what he wants to do in the future. So he's keeping every option open. It's not just Paris Saint-Germain and the others we are hearing around. He wants to keep everything open till May, and then make a decision based also on the project they will have in Man United and in other clubs. So we need to wait with Pogba. It's not going to be decided now.
Fabrizio, it's flown by, which means it's been a cracking show where we've got loads and lots of information. Legend as always, and thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you as always. Thank you to all Man United fans, and see you soon. Thank you for the invitation.
Thanks, Fabrizio. Speak to you in a bit.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So, I will give you the summary. Fabrizio will move on to his very, very busy day job, and I will give you the summary of what's happened there. Let me just pull this in a little bit now. Okay, so no, let's go back. Look like I'm bold there. I look like Pep. We'll go back to that. Yes, make sure you smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner, Fabrizio Romano on the show there, giving us some very, very big updates as usual. Hopefully, I covered everything that needed to be covered. But we're going to talk about the managerial situation. But I suppose some of the headline things, Marcus Rashford contract renewal isn't true at the moment, according to Fabrizio Romano. We are negotiating with Luke Shaw and Bruno. We're not negotiating with Marcus Rashford, who is obviously going to wait until the summer and see what's going on there. So no need for the meltdowns about Rashford and his contract, because that's not actually happening at the moment. In relation to Harry Kane coming to United, very difficult deal to do. Few. I hope he does stay at Spurs. I hope Conte stays at Spurs, and I hope Harry Kane stays at Spurs and doesn't come to Manchester United, because I think Harry Kane equals Pochettino. The big thing I'm taking away from that interview, and it's nice when you go into a show with one mood and you come out with another, and I hope some of you've got this. I'm getting a little bit excited about Erik Ten Hag. I've always been cynical and skeptical of this board going for Pochettino, because that's the sort of thing we've done for the last decade. The new United, the new direction, Erik Ten Hag is something I don't think is the direction that they would go in. But I've always said if they go in that direction, I'll applaud the board. From what Fabrizio Romano said there, the bookies, everybody last week, Erik Ten Hag, and I remember I said this on Tuesday night on the show, or maybe Wednesday morning, that I'd been told that Erik Ten Hag had really impressed in that interview. And it wasn't from Fabrizio, because Fabrizio's just come on and said it himself. He's really impressed in that interview, Erik Ten Hag. That you can take that to the bank. He's really impressed in that interview. And from what Fabrizio said, you can go back and watch it yourself towards the start of the video. I mean, he didn't say Erik Ten Hag's got the job, but I got the feeling that Erik Ten Hag is very much at the forefront of Manchester United's thoughts at the moment. In relation to Pochettino having a meeting with the board, that hasn't happened. I know that's come out. I know everyone's been tweeting that for the last hour. But Fabrizio Romano on this show about 20 minutes ago said there hasn't been a direct meeting between Pochettino and Man United's board. There have been discussions between lawyers and people like that and intermediaries, but there hasn't been that direct meeting at the moment with Pochettino, which worries me a little bit. But I feel probably more positive about Erik Ten Hag than I have been in a very, very long time. I know everybody wants to believe that we're going to get him, and I certainly want to believe it. But after that chat with Fabrizio, I do feel that that he is the man that Manchester United are going to go for. And I'm not going to get 90% T-shirts out or anything like that. This is too important, way too important. Do I think that Van Gaal is warning Ten Hag off United to Sully? Well, this is in relation to a comment that Louis Van Gaal has said, is that Erik Ten Hag should go to a football club, not a business. And obviously Manchester United are a business. But remember, Louis Van Gaal's talking about Manchester United from 5-6 years ago, 7 years ago. He's right. We are a business. But to change, we must become a football club. Richard Arnold should look at those comments from Louis Van Gaal, be appalled, and then say, a commercial club, sorry. Richard Arnold should look at those comments as our CEO and say, Louis Van Gaal is right, but I'm in charge now, and we're not going to be that. We're going to be a football club. Louis Van Gaal is right. We are a corporate club. He witnessed it. We are a brand. We talk about it all the time. But Erik Ten Hag is a football manager. Pochettino is a brand manager. I think Pochettino carries on the brand commercialization of Manchester United. I think Erik Ten Hag represents something new. So ultimately, I agree with Louis Van Gaal, but this is meant to be a new CEO. This is meant to be a new direction. I can only keep saying it so many times. This is meant to be a new Manchester United. Prove it. You've got a manager there who wants the job. Fabrizio saying, look, other clubs are interested in Erik Ten Hag. He's very interested in the Manchester United job. Manchester United are very impressed with him. The fan base want him. Interesting comparison with AC Milan, saying that their fans didn't want the current AC Milan manager, but he's done very well. But then Fabrizio said, to be fair, the fans are right to be, on about this. Erik Ten Hag is the right man for the job. And we need to get this deal done quickly, without a shadow of a doubt. We do need to get the deal done fast. And again, I sort of feel not vindicated, because my opinions are my opinions, but I did put it to Fabrizio that it's really, I and many of you feel that it's really important to get a manager in place now so that we can sign players. And he even interrupted me and said, you're right. This is very important. There are players that want to know what's going on at Manchester United so they can decide their future. There are signings that could be done that won't be able to done if we keep waiting. Some people want to pretend that this is not a big thing, but it is a big thing. It is a big thing to have your manager in place now so that you can speak to players. I don't mind if United don't announce the official manager of Erik Ten Hag for another month. I don't mind that, as long as Erik Ten Hag knows he's the manager now. And we'll know anyway, because United will leak. I don't care about the official announcement. If we've got to respect Ajax or whatever, then we've got to respect them. But we can still appoint our manager. Of course we can. So look, let's just wait and see what happens with that. But look, headlines for me, it feels like Erik Ten Hag is the favourite to get the job. It feels like a decision should be made about Erik Ten Hag, that he gets the job. There will be conversations with Pochettino, but there hasn't been an official meeting yet. The Rashford contract talks aren't true. Harry Kane's a very difficult deal to do. And ultimately, I just feel that there's nobody else in this race, by the way. There's no other manager in this race. It's Ten Hag or Pochettino. Ten Hag's done everything to get the job. He's done a fantastic interview. He's the fans' favourite. He's the better manager to take us forward. He's on the trajectory up. I feel Pochettino's on the trajectory down and has been for 3 years. It's the right appointment, and it's just down to United to do the right appointment. If they go with Pochettino, I think it's going to be more of the last 10 years. If we go with Erik Ten Hag, there's a chance that we can actually start building this football club, which we haven't done since the day Sir Alex Ferguson retired. This club just put the handbrake on, and we've never took it off, really. Not really. I think Erik Ten Hag reminds me a lot of Sir Alex Ferguson. I think he's the sort of man who can come to a club and rebuild it over the next decade. I don't feel Pochettino can do that. I don't feel that there are many managers that can do that. I think he has got that vibe about him, and it's down to United to go and do it. But let's wait and see what happens. I do feel a little bit more positive. On Tchouaméni, just to go through the transfers as well, Tchouaméni, that race is still open. And that race is still open in relation to Tchouaméni. Kamara, forget about it. There's nothing going on with that. Dybala, unlikely as well. So I think we can rule out Dybala and Kamara based on that chat with Fabrizio. At this moment in time, they're not priorities for Man United and there's nothing going on with them. And they're both free in the summer. So if they were, you'd have to be in that race. So I think we can basically say Kamara, Dybala, forget about it. They're not happening based on that chat. Tchouaméni could happen. Young strikers could still happen. Darwin Núñez was mentioned. Obviously, there's a few others as well. So look, it's open, but I still feel we've got to get this manager. And what I would say is I'm feeling more and more confident that it's going to be Erik Ten Hag. And you know me, I'm convinced this club will mess it up and go with Pochettino. So I'm going to be the most negative person in the world in relation to his appointing Erik Ten Hag because I'm not going to believe it until it's done because I just think there are people in that club who are going, get Poch. But look, if we get Erik Ten Hag, it'd be great. Disco Mirror just tweeted United are meeting with Enrique this week. It makes no sense. They're stalling for Poch. Oz, I think the Luis Enrique thing, I'm not even convinced that Enrique's the right. I personally would go for Ten Hag over Enrique. I know loads of people go, oh, what you on about? He don't know ball. He's got bad football knowledge. It's not called bad football knowledge. It's called opinion. I'm all in on Ten Hag now. I know how he plays football. I know how he runs his football clubs. And that's the path I want to go down. I don't want to go down the Luis Enrique role. I don't think Luis Enrique would be at United for the next 10 years either. I think Ten Hag, out of everybody, would be here for 10 years. I don't think Poch would be here for 10 years. I think he'd be here for about 2.5 and he'll get the sack. I don't think Luis Enrique would be here for 10 years. Ten Hag for me is the right man. I'll say what I said about Enrique this morning. It's completely and utterly unrealistic and it's a waste of time. And if they are interviewing Enrique, I think they are clearly dodging and time filling, which leads me back towards Pochettino, but we'll wait and see. Anyway, make sure you join me on Goldbridge TV on Twitch. I've got a massive second leg against Barcelona. If you know, you know. FIFA career mode on Twitch, Goldbridge TV. I'll be tweeting it off at Mark Goldbridge in a minute. I'm back at 8 o'clock. I'm sure there'll be a lot more to digest, but there's a lot in that show and there'll be a lot of tweets going out from that show. Loads of things. Tchouaméni race is open. Harry Kane's hard to do. Pochettino meeting hasn't happened. Erik Ten Hag feels like he's the favourite at the moment, having impressed. Dybala's not happening. Kamara's not happening. Rashford's not doing a contract renewal at the moment. Lots and lots and lots and lots to discuss. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on Twitch in about 5 minutes.